Ah, man, this guy is always going out there and giving us video topics to talk about. Whether it's the trade from LA to Vancouver, to his dominance in Vancouver in the bubble playoffs, to what happens when he leaves Vancouver, goes to Montreal, and terrorizes the Canucks in the North Division, up until he gets traded to Calgary, up until he has a career year in Calgary, up until, one more time, he gets traded over to New Jersey and leaves the Calgary Flames behind. Today we are talking about one of the most beloved players on this YouTube channel's history, Tyler Toffoli. Because when it comes to the biggest controversy the Calgary Flames had in 22-23, I think most people can acknowledge that most of that stemmed at the helm of the coach of the team. Darryl Sutter was in the hot seat for a good chunk of the year. The Calgary Flames in 22-23 disappointed on the score sheet in terms of the point production, in terms of the wins and the losses. The team wasn't good. And Darryl Sutter's style of coaching, wherein he is somewhat of a hard-nosed type of guy, it really wasn't perceived well in the spotlight, which is why we made several videos talking about the different situations. Darryl Sutter losing the room, forgetting Jakob Pelche's name on the podium, probably on purpose, stuff like that, coming out all the time. We would make videos about all of it. Today, though, we had ourselves an interview with Tyler Toffoli on the Spittin' Chicklets podcast. And because it's Spittin' Chicklets, they get into some pretty good, deep discussion about what goes on behind the scenes in the hockey world. There were a few comments made by Tyler Toffoli regarding Darryl Sutter and his coaching style. To help us out, we're going to go over onto this article on flamesnation.ca, written by Ryan Pike from a few days ago. It's pretty self-explanatory what's going on over here, but the introductory paragraph to the piece reads this. When the Calgary Flames parted ways with Darryl Sutter in May, following the club missing the playoffs, President of Hockey Ops Don Maloney mused about the shelf life of demanding coaches like Sutter. In an interview with Spittin' Chicklets, recorded before his trade to New Jersey, former Flames forward Tyler Toffoli shed some light on some things that Sutter did that wore on players over time. Now that you have to remember, this interview was done before Toffoli was even traded. So you could understand that from the perspective of a guy who was talking about the old coach of a team that he was supposedly currently on, because, he hadn't been traded yet, there might be some holding back of the tongue a little bit, there might be a little bit of a sugarcoat here or there. I don't want to make it seem like if you did this interview now, as Tyler Toffoli is a member of the New Jersey Devils and no longer a Calgary Flame, maybe he has different opinions or different assessments of situations, but these are what Tyler Toffoli said as a member of the Calgary Flames regarding Darryl Sutter. The quote is introduced with a paragraph saying that the Calgary Flames don't have a dedicated practice rink, so when the Dome was occupied during the season for a Roughnecks game, often the club would have to trek over to Winsport on the west side of town for practice. Sometimes they would get a day off, unless Sutter wasn't satisfied with their effort in games. We'd have a bad game or a bad first period, recalled Toffoli. During the game, he'd be walking back and forth, mumbling, "I guess we have to go to Winsport tomorrow. You guys want to go practice at Winsport?" It's literally the first period. It's 0-0. We have 15 shots and they have 3, and he's chirping guys on the bench. "I guess we have to go to Winsport tomorrow." And that, of course, is a little bit tongue-in-cheek when Toffoli says it. You could read it with a problematic tone if you wanted, but Toffoli is all smiles, as he usually is when he says this comment. He also talked about Sutter's mind games in general. It would be 0-0, and he'd come in and he'd tell Vladar to get ready to go in. We're looking, it's 0-0. Oh, Marky's not ready to play tonight. We're looking and we're there's a reason it's 0-0. He has 10 saves. We haven't touched the puck this whole period. Little things like that. Like you said, it's all mind games. He's just trying to get guys going. I guess it happened in LA too. It just started to wear on guys and the change happened. There isn't any more comment from Toffoli regarding the Sutter thing in this article, at least, but I did want to go out there and make a video just kind of going over that idea as a whole. Because if you have the team itself, maybe they're playing a game that you could debate is not up and running yet. Maybe they're up in shots 10-3, but it's still a 0-0 game. Okay, saying, oh, you guys want to go to Winsport tomorrow, you guys want to go to the practice facility tomorrow, you guys are not playing well enough to justify getting the practice facility day off. Okay, I could understand and even relate to the idea of you wanting to pump your guys up a little bit more to give that extra second step, that extra push to maybe get on the board sometime soon. Sure, you can get goalied, sure, you can come out of periods with the game being tied, that's okay. But if the coach is going to go out there and place a blanket on the entire team saying, yeah, you guys all got to be better, okay, I can live with that. But going out there and straight up telling your goalies, yeah, no, Marky, he's not ready to play tonight. Dan, you got to get ready. You're going to get in there because Marky's not ready. Like, I don't know about you, but just based off of how my perception of goalies are in hockey in general, not the NHL per se, but just in all levels of hockey, goalies, they're weird. They're very, very weird. And there's some sort of a mojo that you don't want to ever mess with your goalies if you are not a goalie yourself. Like, obviously, you know, Sutter is the coach, he's had a level of authority over the players he's coached, but at the same time, it's like, Jacob Markstrom is a really emotional guy. And I'm not going to try to make any judgments or whatever, but I'm just going to say this. I would love to be a fly on the wall in the locker room after a period where Jacob Markstrom makes 15 saves on 15 shots, the game is tied, he's played out of his mind, he's antsy, he's hyped, he's ready to keep his team in the game, and Darryl Sutter says, yep, no, Dan, you got to get ready. Marky's not ready to play. Like, I don't know about you, but that sounds so off-putting. I get it, it's the same sort of thing, mind games, right? You say something because you think the coach is going to want to replace you. Jacob Markstrom hears, oh, Vladar's got to get ready. What the hell's wrong with me? I've been doing my job this entire time. Okay, well, I'm going to show you, Darryl Sutter. Next period, I'm going to lights out tenfold, and I'm going to completely shut the door then. I do feel like in some situations that could be helpful, but at the same time, it would definitely not shock me if that type of mentality ends up eating away at the players at your disposal slowly and slowly over time, which is inevitably what happened with this Calgary Flames team. Like, I don't want to be the guy to ever be caught in a room saying, hey, Jacob Markstrom, that guy's not ready, and Jacob Markstrom having to be right there listening to me. Like, I don't want that 6'6" Swedish monster to come at me. I don't want that guy to be harboring any sort of ill will or manifested discomfort off of what I'm telling people in the locker room. Obviously, I'm not Darryl Sutter, but at the same time, it's really intriguing to hear how these comments had come about. And of course, this is from the perspective of a Tyler Toffoli that at the time of the audio's recording was still a member of the Flames. This is not New Jersey Devils forward Tyler Toffoli talking about his old team. This is the guy talking about his old coach on the same team. So when it comes to these comments based off of how Darryl Sutter would talk about the goalies in the room, Tyler Toffoli, etc., giving his insight and giving us the scoop, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about these comments? We'd been hearing about a bunch of other comments that were not great to hear about either. But at the same time, I feel like this might be one of the worst ones in comparison. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me being a lover and not really wanting to say anything to antagonize anybody in my locker rooms when I'm playing on a hockey team, wherein we're still in the game, it's tied, and you're telling the goaltender that he's not good enough. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.